So Greater Manchester Police has exposed the lies on the gaslighting of the Mayor of Manchester, Andy Burnham. Now this is in relation to the Britain First protest which took place yesterday in Manchester. So first we're going to recap the protest and then we're going to look at why Andy Burnham is a liar and a gaslighter. So yesterday, prior to the Britain First protest in Manchester, Andy Burnham posted a video statement regarding the protest, and here's what he had to say.
There is no place in Greater Manchester for any form of racism or hate. There never has been, and there never will be. People have a right to demonstrate, but they do not have a right to travel to our city region and incite fear, intimidation, and violence in our communities. Greater Manchester Police have assured me that they will be taking every possible step to ensure that demonstrations planned for this weekend are carried out in a lawful manner. Anything that crosses the line into unlawfulness will be dealt with swiftly and firmly.
Now, after the Britain First protest yesterday, Greater Manchester Police released a statement that completely debunks this bullshit statement by Andy Burnham, and we're going to look at this statement from Greater Manchester Police now. So the statement goes on to say, protest in Manchester city centre result in just 3 arrests. Greater Manchester Police says several demonstrations took place peacefully across central Manchester, with the number of attendees fewer than expected, but still around 1,000 protesters and counter-protesters in total. Officers worked closely with organisers to ensure people could protest safely and that wider disruption was kept to a minimum. A total of 3 people were arrested on suspicion of the following offences. 1 male counter-protester on suspicion of breaching Section 60AA of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994, which allowed officers to require the removal of face coverings. So somebody was arrested for not removing his face covering or some type of offence that he committed. 1 male counter-protester on suspicion of assaulting a police officer. I think I've got footage of that, I'll show you in a second. 1 woman on suspicion of breaching the peace. It is unknown if she was part of either group. So essentially what we've got here is 2 lefties and 1 member of the public was arrested. Not a single patriot, not a single YouTuber, not a single member of Britain First was arrested, which completely debunks Andy Burnham's narrative that patriotic protests are violent and hateful. And we're going to actually look at some footage now of these incidents to show who was actually arrested. So one of the people arrested is this guy. He was arrested on Portland Street. He was tackled to the ground, and the second person that was arrested is this woman here. She had a Palestine scarf on. Now, police are saying 2 males were arrested, but this woman is a female, because he said it in his video. So I think this is the woman that they're saying they don't know which group she was part of, because she was some way away from the protest. And then there was a 3rd person that was actually arrested as well for assaulting a police officer. So yeah, police chase after Antifa here. He trips up a police officer, runs off and gets away. Police chase after another Antifa member as well. Now this guy here, he's the main leader for Antifa in Manchester. So he's trying to pretend he's not involved, but this guy, he's heavily involved in the Antifa and Young Struggle movement in Manchester. And it's this guy here, he's at all of the Fallowfield protests. And this is him again. He's actually got like blonde hair, blue eyes, and I've actually got a picture of his face. I actually caught his face at a protest at St. Peter's Square a few months ago. So this guy here, he just looks like a random person. He's obviously part of Antifa, but he tries to make out like he's not involved. This guy is one of the main orchestrators of the violence in Manchester, particularly at hotel protests or Britain First protests or any sort of patriotic protest. This guy will be there orchestrating violence, and you will see a lot of people that he is with assaulting police officers or getting arrested. Now yesterday the police got super pissed off with Antifa to the point that they started ripping off Antifa's masks and pepper spraying them in the face. So just watch the bottom here. He rips a mask off, they rip his mask off, and then the police officer starts pepper spraying him in the face now. Yeah, this is another video of police actually pepper spraying Antifa and Stand Up to Racism in the face. As you can see, Antifa's getting violent. Stand Up to Racism and Antifa getting violent with the police. One of them got pepper sprayed there. So Andy Burnham, when you talk about, you know, intimidation and hatred, who's assaulting the police here? Can you see any patriots assaulting and attacking police? Because I can't. This is another video of stand up to racism and Antifa being pepper sprayed in the face by police. So you can see the police just got totally pissed off with him and started pepper spraying him and blasting him with batons yesterday and arresting him. And this is why, if you look at the statement from Greater Manchester Police, they say 2 lefties and 1 neutral person that wasn't part of either group were arrested. But to me, I think it was 3 lefties. And it just goes to show Andy Burnham's narrative that patriotic protests are hateful and intimidation and violent. It's absolute bollocks. And Andy Burnham is the biggest gaslighter on the planet at the moment. He constantly lies, and obviously I'm not surprised. He's a member of Labour. To me, he's just like the Mancunian version of Keir Starmer. And in terms of this false narrative, this is one of the reasons why Andy Burnham and other councillors in Manchester, in cohesion with Manchester Evening News, have tried to create smear campaigns against YouTubers because they don't like the fact that we're showing the truth. They don't like the fact that they can't control the narrative. And Andy Burnham doesn't like YouTubers at all because we just show things exactly as they are. It shows his incompetence. So this is why they've tried to create some sort of takedown of YouTubers. You know, they've arrested 6 YouTubers recently. They're trying to ban YouTubers in Manchester. The constant Manchester Evening News constantly creating little articles, creating smear campaigns against YouTubers. You know, for example, there's YouTubers that film predators in the village, but they've tried to like flip it and make it look like the YouTubers are the predators that are harassing women in the village. So it's just disgusting. You know, Andy Burnham, Councillor Pat Carney, they are terrible people, and thank God for YouTubers because we are showing you this information and showing you the truth of what is really going on. You need to stop the gaslighting, mate. And you know, I can't wait till this guy gets removed as the mayor of Manchester because he is not a good mayor. He doesn't deserve the people of Manchester. And by gaslighting and lying, you're actually putting the people of Manchester in danger because you are pretending that these dangers of violence and hatred and fear and intimidation that is being caused by the left and these Islamists and Antifa and the pro-pals, etc. You're pretending that threat doesn't exist. So you're actually putting people in Manchester in danger, and you're also perpetuating that hatred and violence. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the situation. Andy Burnham, stop gaslighting the people of Manchester and start putting the people of Manchester first.
Arrested.